It says we're live. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was gonna say I'll go look and see.
I'm waiting for Instagram to activate go live because it hasn't yet.
Gotcha.
Oh,
We
there we
should be
go.
live on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Okay, I got Instagram,
Nice.
and then I think comments pop up somewhere here. No? Oh yeah, right there,
Oh, yeah.
comments. I guess we'll see if that works.
Okay. We'll find out. So good
Yeah,
morning.
0 views. Woo! Reminds me
We're
of that
like
time that I decided to speak for the first time.
there could be a lag too though, but uh if anyone has seen this, good morning. We're like multi-streaming for the first time, so we have no idea what's
First
going
time
on.
this year.
Figuring our shit out this year. Yeah, we haven't done it in a long time. We used to have a weekly show that we did, and we would multi-stream. But we've been hanging out live, but we were doing it exclusively over on IG. So we were like, let's go back to multi-streaming. So, um, good morning. Today we're going to talk about why your business needs speaking to scale faster. So I'm really excited for our topic today. Um, I don't know, anything else you want to like jam about? So this is usually Kat and I talk every morning. One of the reasons why we decided to go live again. We chat every morning and we talk about business, but then everything, like the whole world, like just all of it and everything in between. We just like jump around from top to top. So we haven't even had a chance yet to chat this morning. So just get warmed up a little
Yeah,
bit.
just
I'm a little
drinking
bit sick
some tea.
today.
So what I was saying is the whole like 0 views reminds me of the first time when I did public speaking. Like, so my public speaking story, I share it sometimes, but not very often. As I actually got approached by someone that I attended event, and they were the speaker, and I got approached by them to hire me to go and do talks for them selling their product. And I just still remember how scared I was and how I hid in the bathroom and almost cried and had to call them and be like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know. It's terrible. It's going to be so awful. I don't know anything. I just had like 15 minutes to go through my slides. But the bigger fear than even speaking in front of people was that nobody's going to show up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that there will be like no people who care at all
Mm-hmm.
to be there. And so it was interesting. It was like this like mix of 50-50 of like, oh my gosh, there's going to be people who are going to look at me and I'm going to speak about something that I don't understand and I've never done this and I'm going to embarrass myself. And on the other side, it was like, but what if nobody shows up?
Right.
People showed up, but
Yeah.
the fear
But
was real.
beforehand, yeah.
The fear was real. Like as the time ticking and you're like, okay, it's almost 12 and there's nobody here. 5 minutes to 12, nobody here. 3 minutes to 12,
Mhm.
nobody. That's it. Nobody's gonna show up.
Right? Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do
so
remember
I
that.
feel like one of the reasons why I love helping other entrepreneurs use speaking in their business is because I feel like it's one of those things that if you can conquer the fears that come up around that, you can conquer anything. Like
Oh yeah.
it's so empowering once you are able to control all the things mentally and physically that happen when you do have fear about public speaking. And it's now I'm like, oh, like whatever life throws at me, I'm like, hey, like, I did this and that and had this crazy thing happen. And, smoked a room of like 800 people when I thought it was going to be 20, like just all these things that you go through as a speaker, just it creates proof for your brain that
Mhm.
you can tackle anything, right? And it's interesting how many fears do come up around speaking, whether it's being seen, not being seen, right? Like failing horribly on stage, forgetting something really important you want to say, falling off the stage, fires before the event. That's a true story for another time. I think I told that one last week, but so it's really interesting. But it just creates proof for your brain that if I could tackle these things that happen and these fears that happen for me, I really can handle anything in my business and life. Really, it's really interesting. And it's so crazy because for a lot of people, public speaking is their number one fear. Like they say, I'd rather die than get on a stage and speak and have, everyone looking at me and me being the center of attention. So again, it's just one of those really empowering things that you can do for yourself. So,
And
but go ahead.
when you look at it, public speaking is in the top 3 fears, right next there to dying, right?
Mhm.
And I always circle back to that, where it's like, if I could conquer the top 3 of the fears, right? If I can
Yeah.
conquer even one, I'm so much closer to being unstoppable in whatever it is that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we talk about it all the time, like the power of asking, the power of showing up, the power of confidence. How many times we see entrepreneurs that don't necessarily have the most ethical ways to sell people, or what they sell, or their delivery. Maybe their product is not that good, because we've experienced it. But the only difference between like speakers that we meet and them making millions of dollars is literally the confidence when they walk into the room and onto the stage.
Mm-hmm.
They have that unstoppable confidence of whatever they're going to deliver is going to change lives. They don't even make it an option to
Yeah.
have the failure anywhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that really, really cool muscle that you get to build,
Yeah.
because then no matter what else, yeah, like life throws at you, you're just kind of like, cool. I mean, I beat that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And we've been on all sides of that. So
Oh, totally. Absolutely. And I think this is a great place to insert a shameless plug for our upcoming event, Profitable Speaker Bootcamp. Happening March 29th and 30th. If locally in Edmonton, it's in person. And all these things that we're talking about can be your experience too. And in talking about how empowering it is. Because you just ran into someone, Kat, recently who had attended like 6 years ago at like one of our very first editions. And she was telling you exactly all these things we're talking about, right?
literally. So that person came up to me and said that they want to attend so much again, because the first time they attended, they went from being terrified to even being in front of the room to literally now they do public speaking to
Mm-hmm.
sell their services.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they enjoy it. I think that's the difference, right? And they actually enjoy it, and they know what to do, and they feel more confident in it. And so every
Uh-huh.
time you do it, we have people coming back to boot camp. Every time you do it, it's just a little bit better and better.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody is watching, drop us a comment. I just want to see if our tech here is even working, because I can see on Instagram we have people watching, but our tech here is saying there's nobody watching. So totally curious if there's like not a connection going between the two.
That's possible. That's possible. And if you do drop us a comment and we don't see it, we're sorry. We'll come back and we can either like answer it or use it as a topic for another live. Okay, so today we wanted to talk though about why you need speaking to scale your business faster. So I know for myself, like when I left my corporate job it's going on 8 years ago now. I thought like start a Facebook group. That's what everyone said. It was either Facebook group or networking. So I did both of those. I had a coach. That's what they said to do. And I had no results, right? And networking takes so much time. And I kind of paid attention. Probably even you were one of the people I was paying attention to because you were hosting events. And I was like, I'm going to host an event and just see what happens. And it like completely transformed everything for me to be that person, that speaker at the front of the room. It instantly created authority. Sorry, this dog has something under my desk. Life with pets. And it completely transformed my business for me. And it got me my first clients and then my next clients, and people were coming out to meet me. Like you saw that I was hosting an event, you wanted to know who I was and why so many people were coming to my events and what we were doing. And so it just really amplifies so quickly the ability for you to be seen instead of going out and doing hundreds of coffee dates, which, let's be real, coffee dates are just the other person trying to sell it to you and vice versa. So
Yeah.
What about you, Kat? What do you think?
And for me, it's the same way, just different results, because I was told by a coach that I should go network and book coffee dates, and that's how you get clients. And so I was kind of a smart ass. So I was like, I'm going to book all of my coffee dates on the same day, back to back in the same coffee shop, and just have people rotate. And I mean, it did work. I did get clients, but the amount of coffee dates it took to get one client was obscene. So like imagine that you're literally spending full-time job between networking events, managing the connections, follow up, and then having those coffee dates back to back, and then having to do proposals. And then all of a sudden I would get a client and I had to deliver the work. So that took away the time that I had to go network and book coffee dates. So my revenue in business really looked like a freaking roller coaster. I have time to network and close clients, and then I have to deliver the work, and the revenue goes down, and then I have to go back, and then up and down, up and down, up and down. And I was stuck in this cycle of not being able to break out of the revenue cap that I put on myself by using just one strategy of going and doing coffee dates and networking. And I mean, besides that wicked coffee addiction, definitely gained a few pounds
Yeah.
there from all the
Not the
lunches and
bacon
eating
good,
out and all the muffins and banana bread. You're just trying to keep yourself awake and alert and present.
Mhm.
And for me, I just knew that I can't break through that glass ceiling that I created in my business just by doing the same thing over and over again, right? Doing the
Mhm.
networking and coffee dates. Besides, I knew that you can't connect with everybody. So even if you get selective and you start filtering through people and you really like dedicate the time to filter through connections and book the ones that you think are the best prospects, it's still having so many conversations. It's impossible to even keep track of all the stories and getting to know people. You're not going very deep. So, like you said, first half of the meeting, they're pitching you, second half, you're pitching them, and you kind of go from there. So,
Mhm.
a lot of the times it resulted in, nothing because literally, where do you go from there? Can you even develop it in deep relationship after just pitching to each other for half an hour? So
Yeah, exactly.
I knew that to break free, there would have to be a different strategy. I just didn't know what it is. Back then, I had no idea. I just started attending random events and workshops, and at some point, I ended up in the room where it gave me that light bulb because I watched the speaker make an offer from the stage. And at my round table, I just watched people like pop up and go to the back of the room and put in their credit card. And I'm like, what? How is he doing that? I don't understand. And in my mind, and I know you all do it, I'm sitting there with a mind calculator. I'm like, how much is he making right now? Like this was like it was a 1 day event, so it wasn't like a short presentation. But still, he made more in that 1 day than I made a whole year in my salary. Never
Mhm.
mind my business too, like even combined.
Yeah.
And it was just like this light bulb that went off in my mind that I don't have to have the one conversation with every single person in the room. I could switch what I'm doing just by simply placing myself in a different spot in the room.
Mhm.
So being in front of the room, everybody pays attention to me. I get to share all the same things I share in half an hour of me pitching at a coffee date, but I get to share it from the stage to many people. So switching from that one-to-one and having to have one-to-one connection with every single person to having a one-to-many where people get to self-select whether they want to work with you or not. It just became so much simpler. I was like, how did I never think about that? It
Mhm.
just never dawned on me until that one moment in the room. And that was the very beginning of me switching from doing coffee dates to being in front of the room. However uncomfortable and weird and awkward and imperfect it was. And I have some photos and videos to prove it. How many times my microphone didn't work, or I couldn't figure out the system, or at some point I was doing like a 300 people event and the check-in, I didn't think through the check-in for people coming in, and I created this like lineup of 100 some more people around the building. So
Mhm.
uh, it's still, and that's something I guess like this one of the themes for the year, right? It's still taking action, however imperfect it is. And I think when it comes to speaking, whichever point you're at, you just got to start there and start taking action and switching towards that. It doesn't have to be like an overnight replacement of everything you do for marketing, but just go and try to find one podcast or one stage or one event or somewhere that where you can do an introduction. It doesn't matter if it's 1 minute, 2 minutes to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
So So for me, that made a huge difference just knowing that and giving myself permission to start doing that. That said, I mean, attending something like Profitable Speaker Bootcamp definitely accelerates the journey. So you
Mhm.
don't have to go through the bumps and bruises, right?
Yes. And the other thing that I think, because of the name, a lot of people think it's we're just doing speaking training, but we're not. We talk a lot about the business model and how you can incorporate it into your business. And you and I were having a conversation yesterday about, I think I think it's really easy for coaches and consultants to see themselves using speaking to grow their business, but in some more maybe businesses you wouldn't necessarily think of, we were talking about like trades. So how could someone who does house painting, use speaking to amplify their business? Because I think they think that, one, they're not interesting enough or they don't know what to talk about. But I actually think it would be really easy, especially because there's so many networking events that give you an opportunity to do 40-second pitches, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you then know to effectively use that 40 seconds? Or lots of them have speaking spots you can apply for as a member.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we go to those events, lots of those presentations are about business topics, but I think it would be really cool to see some of those tradespeople getting up and talking about those different things. So, for example, I had told a guy who does house painting, that's why it's on my mind, that maybe he could talk about like why the color of your office matters, right? How it could affect your mood, or your background for your videos and stuff like that. Like that would be a super intriguing topic to me. And now all of a sudden, instead of just meeting 2 or 3 people at the event, everyone there knows who you are. So, and that's why I feel passionate that speaking is something that would work for any type of business, not just coaches and consultants. I think a lot of people, like, it feels very natural. And I do think for some financial service industries, depending on their business model, they do their own events and some speaking. But that's the one cool thing about bootcamp is we do get people from so many different industries. But I would also like to see more people, coming from other industries, and just thinking about how can I be more creative in my marketing? How can I show up differently? How can I be more confident?
And talk about, so I just did an in-person summit with over 100 business owners. And we did a little draw where they had to add their question. So we got like a lot of entries for the questions, not quite 100, but pretty close. And number one question was, how do I stand out? In different industries, like completely different. Like there were non-profits, there were financial advisors, there were mortgage brokers, there were construction, right? Like from different industries, but it is a number one question, how do I stand out? And guess what? You become the pattern interrupt of how your industry promotes. Think about how many construction companies are so outdated when it comes to technology, never mind how they market themselves. Because so many of them, by default, their marketing is referrals and attending networking events. But what if you're that one HVAC company that does presentations or reels, right? And I saw it too. I actually have an acquaintance in Calgary. They sell kitchen cabinets. They multiplied their business by 12 last year just by doing the reels. And they're not like, it's not complicated. They're not doing anything wild. They're not even viral. Like, it's not like they're getting millions of views, but they're doing something that other cabinet companies don't. They're showing up on Instagram. They get so many leads. They get flooded. They had to hire for someone to take care of those leads. So it just shows you like the little pattern interrupt of using public speaking. And by the way, it can be in person and presentation and on stage, or it could be on social media. That's also public speaking, like we're doing right now. We're just creating our own stage. I think we live in the age where we're lucky enough to be able to have so big of an audience just by using online and virtual and social media, right? And again, it doesn't have to be complicated. Me and you talk every single morning. We might as well do it live. Because this is how our conversation is. We're just talking about different markets and what's happening, and how we can support the growth and support the shift and support people who are sitting and are not quite sure how to stand out in the market. But there are those industries, even the industries that do events and do speaking, like financial industries, they're really stuck in a very specific way that they do it. And they're not getting very many people signing up for it because, frankly, people are not that interested in another presentation that sounds like the other 50 presentations that they saw from other financial companies, right? So you really get blind to the offers when they're the same offers over and over again. So how do you stand out, right? So I'm really excited to get those very different industries and people in the room so that we can show them, because I have a feeling that next year, this year, of course, but also next year, we're going to see this huge shift from traditional marketing and traditional industries shifting into more creative and online, unless they just, if they choose not to, then they just become archaic and they'll become irrelevant. That's all it comes.
I agree. I do think we're going to see a lot more creative marketing happening. So awesome. Well, I feel, I mean, we could go on for hours. That's why people should just come to boot camp and hang out with us. Because we overshare all the time and people love it. That's what they love about boot camp, is because we give you so much of the behind the scenes. We teach you exactly what we've done to turn our business into, a 7-figure business using speaking. And it's interesting because even when we kind of took a break from social for about a year, but we're still out there, right? And it was really interesting how easy it was to just slide back into it and be, out in the public again, because we have the skills built up. So come join us at Profitable Speaker Bootcamp. It's profitablespeakerbootcamp.com is the URL, or we have it in all the places. Like, you should be well trained to find on social media now. Come join us. The tickets are selling really fast, and it will really transform your business and your confidence and your whole life and the connections you make. And we can go on and on. We have hundreds of testimonials from people about how transformational the event is. And it's really cool for me now that, we hosted the very first edition like 6 or 7 years ago. And to see so many of those people now, 7 years later, still in business, still collabing together, still speaking at events, hosting summits, being on podcasts, just out there doing their thing, spreading their brilliance to the world. That's what we want to help more people do. So that's why we're bringing it back. I'm really excited for that. So if you were here live, thank you so much. We don't see comments. So if you're leaving comments, we appreciate you. And we'll be back next week. We're going to try and do this every Thursday, 8 a.m. Mountain Time. So come hang out with us and let's talk about how speaking can amplify your business.